what happens when religion becomes the center of Nigeria's 2027 political conversation? Because a Muslim cleric just made a very strong declaration about Nigeria, Muslims and the 2027 election, including comments about anyone who refuses to accept a Muslim ticket. But here's where this story gets interesting, because while that message is circulating, another Muslim leader is publicly defending Peter Obi against claims that he once demolished a mosque in Anambra. So this isn't simply a story about Muslims supporting one political side. It is about two very different views of religion, politics, and Nigeria's future. First, listen to what Sheikh Yahaya said.
So da kuke ganin gwanina Ahmad Bola Tinubu wanda ya daga tutar siyasar su ya mata kirari da Muslim na ce ina daya daga cikin masu daga tutar musulunci in kira jama'a ku taho mu yi Muslim na sani cewa kafirai na jin safin wannan kalma mu nuna wa duniya ƙarya kafirai suke da suka ce sun fi mu yawa a Najeriya ƙarya suke yi ba dan Allah ya taimake mu nace Muslim ba mai ragon jini sai ya ce sun fi mu yawa da aka buga Allah ya taimake mu muka kwantara su da ƙasa su zo na biyu ma ba su zo ba ko sun zo sai na uku bayan murdiyar su duka da haka ƙuri'a ta musulunci ce jama'ar musulmi ta kufa to kar wani ya rude ku.
Now, Nigerians have been reacting in droves to that 1 minute plus clip ever since it first appeared on Sunday for a number of reasons. One, because of the sheer brazenness of it all. These comments were not made during a private gathering amongst a small group of people. No, these were comments made, as we saw, in front of a sizable crowd. This was a public declaration that electoral politics should be framed around whichever religion has the larger head count. Two, these comments were made in the presence of at least two sitting APC governors, including Abba Yusuf of Kano State and Umar Namadi of Jigawa State, both of whom, as of this morning, have not issued any statement in response. And three, because as we talk about here on an almost daily basis, Nigeria is fully already a country dealing with religious tensions. And this kind of language from a high-profile Islamic cleric only adds flames to the fire. And I'll just quickly take some reactions before coming to you, Rufai. Onyani on X said, "This is the kind of mentality that keeps Nigeria divided and underdeveloped." So, the objective of a Muslim ticket is to maintain religious dominance. Is that what leadership has been reduced to, counting who dominates instead of what government is delivering to the people? Has the Muslim ticket stopped insecurity? If it hasn't stopped insecurity nationwide, has it stopped insecurity in predominantly Muslim zones? Has it given Nigerians 24/7 electricity? Has it created enough jobs? Has it eliminated poverty? Has it transformed healthcare, education? Has it made Nigerians safer? If the answer to these questions is no, then what exactly are you celebrating? Religious dominance or good governance? Competence should dominate. Accountability should dominate. Development should dominate, not religion. Rufai, I put this to you.
Yes. Thank you for putting it to me. But religion dominates. You know, that's the way these reckless politicians have perpetrated the destruction they do in our country. But you see, let me tell you where religion doesn't dominate. When they are stealing our national money. All of this, the reason why they want to come to power is to steal national funds. Mostly. Because when you look at it, before they come to power and after they come to power, they become a lot richer. We know a lot of people that over 20 years ago, they had nothing to their name. Today, they are multi-billionaires. And you ask them, how did they make the money? They'll say, shut up your mouth. We know a lot of people that they were nothing before they came into politics. But today, they show wealth everywhere. Which resource is it? They say, shut up your mouth. Maybe you didn't catch me steal state resource. Yeah, because you have a better way of funneling it does not mean that people do not know that you steal it. Because you have a judicial system that can't hold you accountable does not mean people do not know that you steal it. So when they are bereft of ideas, what they do is they look for pressure points like religion. Let me now tell you the counter-narrative they are trying to push to support this. You remember the Yes Daddy video by Peter Obi? Or the audio recording that they said was a purported telephone conversation. Some people are pushing that narrative and say, yes, so Yes Daddy should be, Peter Obi too said, Yes Daddy is a religious war and everything. Which I don't believe anything should be a religious war. But the question we should ask them this morning is, and I quote, please, will everybody sitting down there in that gathering that sees nothing wrong with a Muslim ticket as a political strategy, please, will they accept a Christian ticket? That's just where the hypocrisy lies. We sounded off about this, they say my mouth is smelly. I don't have any problems. Muslim ticket, go ahead. But please, as long as, if we can say, there's nothing wrong with a Christian ticket, All right? And when people feel disgruntled and they say things, you don't shut them down based on their religion. That's just the argument I want to put forward to them. Mm-hmm. You and I know that they will never accept it. If they did easily accept it, we will not have all the religious challenges we're having today. But you see, the grand scheme is we must be able to live where religion does not play a role in our politics, because both Christians, both Muslims are getting killed. It doesn't also stop the fact that there's Christian genocide in some particular parts of the country. But this asinine politics that we play, this destructive politics that we play, I'm sure we're beginning to see the results. Mm-hmm. And it is during the election period that you see all of this. But you see, I pity whoever said this on the Cleric, because see, no matter how much you say this to gain political advantage because governors are there, you will never be as rich. You will never have the level of access to state resources these people have. So in the end, the greatest pawn that they are using are the religious leaders to incite this and the people. In the end, it is the people that are the biggest losers. Mm-hmm. You will always be a victim of insecurity. You will always be a victim of poor economy. You will always be a victim of inflation. But them, they can still state resource even more and hedge against inflation. So they will use you and you will dump you. And the poverty cycle continues for people at the lower level while them at the higher level enjoy. When they are both stealing state resources, they don't care if you are Muslim or Christian. All they care about is the choicest place they can hide the loot, the state loot. Right. That's all they care about. It's not about religion.
What that man has done, and I think it should be identified and his name put on the table so that we can know these people in Nigeria who do not want the unity of Nigeria. He was saying that a Muslim ticket is a good idea. Otherwise, Christians will think that they are more than us in this Nigeria. You can just classify that as incitement, trying to incite Muslims against Christians or vice versa in Nigeria. And that in itself is a criminal offense. You asked a question that you were surprised that 2 state governors were there. It's not only 2 state governors were there. Policemen were there. State security agencies were also there. And nobody thought, the man had committed an offense because they will say, oh, it's freedom of expression. No, there are no absolute rights under the Constitution of Nigeria. You cannot say because you have a tongue and a mouth, you can just talk anyhow. That man should be invited by the security agencies and be called to question. Because under sections 44, section 50, and section 51 of the Criminal Code of Nigeria, incitement is a felony. Okay. You cannot incite one group against the other and cause the breach of the public peace. The Police Act also has something about breach of a public peace. That's number one. Number 2, he's very lucky. He's speaking in Kano State. If it were in Niger State, perhaps this would have been a litmus test for Governor Bago's declaration, I think sometime last month, that if any cleric talks any nonsense that can cause disunity in Niger State, that cleric will be arrested and the place of worship may be shut down. That's in Niger State. The third point is that in terms of principle, the Nigerian Constitution frowns against any form of discrimination under federal character principle that is enshrined in section 14 sub 3 and section 14 sub 4 of the 1999 Constitution, which says very clearly that nobody shall be discriminated against either on the basis of ethnicity or the section that you belong to or the kind of religion that you practice, which is further codified, expressed in section 42 of the same 1999 Constitution, which talks about, the right to non-discrimination, that you cannot be discriminated against. This man was promoting discrimination and, questioning the rights of Christians to survive in Nigeria. Absolutely. That makes it a very serious offense. And if you go further, in section 153, sub 1 of the same Constitution, it creates a body called the Federal Character Commission. And the job of that Federal Character Commission is to make sure that in government agencies, federal or state, that there is no such thing as discrimination. So this man that is on the screen, whatever his name is violating the fundamental rights of all Christians in Nigeria. And it's adding fuel to those who say that Christians are being persecuted in Nigeria. Absolutely. I don't know what his age is, but it looks like an elder. This is not how to be responsible as an elder.
Absolutely.
But there's another side to this conversation that I think it is important, because if we are going to discuss religion and Nigerian politics honestly, we also have to acknowledge that Muslims themselves don't all share the same political position. And there's a Muslim community leader speaking about Peter Obi, specifically addressing the allegation that Obi demolished a mosque in Onitsha. His account is very different. Listen.
Mahmoud Ibrahim, the secretary of Hausa community, Onitsha. Okay, tell us, speak to us on camera. What is the relationship between the Hausa community and His Excellency Peter Obi over the years? It has been cordial, even during his tenure as governor and up to this moment. We have a very cordial relationship with him. There is no any problem between us. Okay, there's this video going around the town that when His Excellency was governor of the state, he went on demolition of a mosque in Anambra State. Can you tell us how true is this allegation and what has been the feeling of our community over this video? Can you debunk it?
Yeah, we are the community leaders and we don't know anything about that because the mosque they are making reference to was demolished before His Excellency came to power. It was during the 2006 crisis on February 21 and 22, why His Excellency came to power in March 2006. So it wasn't during his tenure. And moreover, when he assumed office, the first thing he did was to visit us at Army Barrack, where we were staying there as refugees. From there, he accompanied us to our community leaders' residence at Bida Road, where the mosque is located up to this moment. He even visited the mosque, and he donated his own contribution for the rebuilding of the mosque. If I'm not mistaken, he donated about 1.5 million naira there. And Obi of Onitsha too donated $1 million for the reconstruction of the mosque. So it didn't happen during his tenure. He came and saw it like that, and he helped us to rebuild it. And even of recent, I think last year, he gave us a check at his residence of 1.5 million naira to refurnish the mosque, of which we use and install interlocking and other things in the mosque. It's there for you to see.
Sorry, what did you say caused the crisis before?
It was a 2006 crisis. This is, I think, was it Sharia or whatever, the national crisis in the north over there. The repressor who were attacked here in Onitsha before he came to power. That was in February 21, 22. And the record, Peter Obi came to power in March, I think 13, or thereabout, yes.
And this is where I think Nigerians need to be very careful. You can support Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you can support Peter Obi, you can support Atiku. In fact, you can support another candidate entirely. You can also be a Muslim and support Tinubu, and you can be a Muslim that supports Peter Obi. The same applies to Christians. Your religion should not automatically determine your political choice, and that is why I deliberately showed you both clips. On one side, you have a Muslim cleric making an extremely forceful argument about Nigeria being a Muslim country and rejecting a Muslim ticket. On the other side, you have a Muslim community representative defending Peter Obi against allegations concerning the demolition of a mosque. Those are two completely different political perspectives coming from people who share the same faith. So, perhaps the bigger question for 2027 isn't simply Muslim versus Christian. Perhaps Nigeria should be asking, what does this candidate actually stand for? What has this candidate done? And what kind of country do we want after the election? Because once politicians and religious figures convince Nigerians that their religious identity must come before everything else, we risk an election turning into a religious contest instead of a contest of ideas, leadership, and performance. So before you go, I want to hear from you. Should religion play this much of a role in Nigeria's 2027 election? Or should Nigerians completely separate religious identity from their political choices? Let me know what you think in the comments, and don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more honest updates like this, and watch this video next.